Imagine a time in the 7th century, in the arid deserts of Arabia. The air is thick with anticipation, the tension almost palpable. The Meccan Quraysh tribe and the Muslims in Medina are at odds, the friction between them threatening to ignite into a full-blown conflict. This is the historical backdrop of the Battle of Badr, a pivotal moment in Islamic history. The socio-political climate of the time is a complex tapestry of tribal loyalties, religious tensions, and economic rivalries. The Quraysh, a powerful and influential tribe of Mecca, viewed the fledgling Muslim community in Medina with suspicion and hostility. The Muslims, on the other hand, were struggling for their survival and the right to practice their faith. The reasons for the conflict were as diverse as they were deep-rooted, with disagreements over trade, religion, and political power all playing their part. Each side had something to prove, something to protect. The stage was set for an encounter that would forever change the course of history. In this harsh, unforgiving landscape, two forces were preparing for a showdown. In the vast expanse of the desert, under the unforgiving sun, the forces of Mecca and Medina were assembling, each side putting together its best fighters, each side preparing for what was to come. On one side, the Meccan army, a force to be reckoned with. They were 3 times the number of their opponents, armed with superior weapons and riding on the strength of their cavalry. Their resources were plentiful, their morale high, and their strategy was simple: overpower the enemy with sheer force and numbers. On the other side, the Medinan forces, significantly outnumbered and outgunned. However, what they lacked in numbers and resources, they made up for in determination and strategic planning. Their plan was to use the terrain to their advantage, forcing the Meccans to fight on unfavorable ground. The key figures in this showdown were not just military leaders, but men of vision and faith. Leading the Meccans was Abu Jahl, a man of wealth and influence, driven by a desire to maintain the status quo and quell the rising power of the Prophet Muhammad and his followers. On the opposing side, the Prophet Muhammad himself took the helm. His motivation was not just the survival of his community, but the propagation of a faith that was still in its infancy. He was backed by a dedicated group of followers who, inspired by his teachings, were ready to fight to the death for their cause. Each side had its own motivations, its own strategies, and its own key players. But as they assembled on the battlefield, they all shared one common understanding: the stakes were high. This was not just a clash of swords, but a clash of ideologies, a battle for survival, and a fight for the future. With the battle lines drawn, the fate of many hung in the balance. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the desert fell silent, and the night was filled with anticipation of the decisive confrontation that was to come. As dawn broke on the 17th of Ramadan, the Battle of Badr began. The air was thick with tension, the silence only broken by the muted clinks of armor and the whispered prayers of the warriors. This was not just a clash of arms, it was a pivotal confrontation between faith and disbelief. As the first rays of sunlight pierced the horizon, the armies moved into position. The Muslim army, outnumbered 3-1, was undeterred. Their leader, Prophet Muhammad, had positioned them near a water source, a strategic move that would prove crucial. As the battle commenced, the Muslims showcased a level of skill, bravery, and strategy that belied their numbers. A series of one-on-one duels kicked off the combat, stirring the air with the clatter of swords and the cries of the combatants. The Muslims, despite their fewer numbers, held their ground, their faith unwavering. But the real turning point of the battle came when the Prophet, in a moment of divine inspiration, picked up a handful of pebbles and threw them towards the enemy lines. This unexpected offensive caught the Meccan forces off guard, turning the tide in favor of the Muslims. Throughout the battle, the Muslims demonstrated an inspiring level of courage and resilience. The challenges faced by the Muslims were immense, but they overcame these challenges with a combination of strategic planning, unwavering faith, and sheer courage. Their unity and belief in their cause gave them the strength to stand up against a far stronger opponent. The battle raged on, with both sides showing incredible bravery and determination. The Muslims, however, seemed to draw strength from their faith and their trust in their leader. The Meccan forces, on the other hand, seemed to be wavering, their initial confidence slowly being eroded by the unyielding resolve of the Muslims. As the day wore on, the Meccan army began to falter. The Muslims, on the other hand, fought on with unyielding determination, their faith and courage undiminished. Finally, as the sun began to set, the battle came to an end. The Meccan forces were defeated, their once formidable army now in retreat. The Muslims, despite their smaller numbers, had held their ground and emerged victorious. The Battle of Badr was more than just a military victory. In the aftermath, the ramifications of this pivotal event rippled across the Arabian Peninsula. For the Muslims, the triumph was a beacon of hope, a validation of their faith, and a testament to their resolve. The repercussions, however, were not just confined to the battlefield but extended to the social and political landscape of the time. The Meccan Quraysh, who had been the dominant force in the region, were left reeling from the defeat. Their pride was bruised, their authority questioned, and their power significantly diminished. This blow to their prestige ignited a flame of resentment and a thirst for vengeance that would fuel subsequent conflicts. But the spotlight shines on the Muslims, for whom the victory was transformative. It was a morale booster, a reaffirmation of their beliefs, and a clear signal that they were a force to be reckoned with. They had not only defended their faith but had also established their military prowess, sending a clear message to their adversaries. The Battle of Badr served as a catalyst, strengthening the position of the Muslims in Arabia. It helped solidify their community, fostering unity, resilience, and a sense of purpose. The battle's outcome also attracted new converts, bolstering their ranks and enhancing their influence. The victory also had significant implications for the Prophet Muhammad. It reinforced his leadership, showcasing his strategic acumen and his ability to rally his followers around a common cause. The Battle of Badr thus became a cornerstone in the foundation of the Islamic State. In the grand tapestry of history, the Battle of Badr stands out as a landmark event. It was a turning point, a moment of change that altered the course of history. It marked the rise of a new power and the beginning of a new era. The Battle of Badr left an indelible mark on history. Today, the Battle of Badr serves as a powerful reminder of a pivotal moment in history. In the grand scheme of unfolding events, this clash of forces was not just a physical battle, but a turning point, a moment that sent ripples through the course of time, shaping the future. We started our journey by setting the stage, painting the historical context. The prelude to the battle was marked by tension and unrest. Two forces were gathering, each with their own beliefs, their own motivations, their own hopes for what the future held. Then we dived into the heart of the conflict, the Battle of Badr itself. It was more than a clash of swords and shields. It was a clash of ideologies, of values, of visions for what the world could be. Each side fought with fervor, with courage, with a determination that echoed through the desert. The aftermath of the battle brought change, a legacy that we still see today. It marked a shift in power, a shift in perception, a shift in the narrative of history. The victors emerged not just with their heads held high, but with a newfound sense of purpose, a sense of direction that guided their steps in the days to come. So, what can we learn from the Battle of Badr? What reflections can we draw from this significant event? As we look back, we see a testament to the power of faith, of courage, of strategic planning. We see how individuals and communities can rise up, can face challenges, can shape their own destinies. The Battle of Badr is not just a story of the past. It's a story for us, for now, for the present day. It's a story that reminds us that even in the face of adversity, there is always the potential for change, for growth, for victory.